reality to be focused on me. I'm on TV. I am a Vidiot.
And we're back with another episode of Vidiot on Demand. And this is our little segment that I like to call Tell Me Something I Don't Know. With guest host, I guess you could say, because you're the one doing most of the talking.
Yeah, I will be talking.
It's Kaami. So let's get in there. Percy Jackson. This is Harry Potter light.
Right, yeah, and I mean, technically I would call it Harry Potter on steroids. Percy Jackson is a character from the books of Rick Riordan, and he's written a bunch of stuff. So, long story short, gods are real. Both the Roman gods.
There you go. I told you.
the Greek gods,
Yeah.
the Norse gods, Egyptian gods, all those real. They're offsprings, demigods, right? Running around.
Okay.
Modern New York City, modern whatever city. And they get brought up and taken to summer camp called Camp Half-Blood. Because they're half-bloods.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm in.
So,
Still in.
those of you who know Percy Jackson know that there's already been a movie or two.
Two movies.
Or at least
Sea of
two
Monsters
movies,
was the last one.
Yeah, exactly. The Lightning Thief and Sea of Monsters.
Yeah.
Now, Rick Riordan's already, if I'm not mistaken, said that he wasn't very active in those, and they literally just went, here's a story, let's take out the good parts of the story and just condense it and rewrite some stuff. And that's what they did, and they pumped out those two movies, and people went to see them because they were a fan of Percy Jackson. Now, there's a series coming, they say, to Disney+.
Oh, yeah.
So a series, for me, sounds like a good idea, because...
Time. More time to flesh out everything.
Exactly. More time, but at the same time, you get that idea of... as I said, he's not just written about the...
Percy Jackson characters.
Exactly. He's written about another character. Instead of the Greek gods, he talks about the Roman gods, right? So instead of Poseidon, it's Neptune. Instead of Zeus, it's Jupiter, right?
Yeah. Which has always confused me, by the way. I always thought, aren't they the same thing? But no.
No. I mean, it was the same thing. Because wasn't it like the Romans said, oh, Greek stuff. Yeah, this is nice, but let's change all the names.
Exactly. Wait a minute. I thought your name was Ares. Now it's Mars? What's going on here?
It's like, Athena? No. Venus.
Athena.
Athena, yeah.
Slight difference. We're just going to do the pronunciation of that one.
Athena? Yeah, no, but...
Henna. Okay.
And then he also obviously have the Kane Chronicles, which has to do with the Egyptian gods, which is also a nice book, or a nice series. And then I think he has a crossover series with the two.
Oh, so they Avengers this? They do
I don't know, right? That's a good idea, because I mean, the Avenger or the MCU did a great job with, in my opinion, with
most people's opinion.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I need to say, in my opinion, they did a great job with making all these movies and putting it together into one, Avengers and beyond, right?
Yeah.
I mean, DC, cough, have some work to do in that department. Yeah.
We love you. We love you, DC. We do.
Yes.
Just do better. Aim higher.
Yes.
Plus Ultra.
Yeah. Plus Ultra.
Go beyond is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Back to Percy Jackson, though.
Percy Jackson. So
you're saying that
there's a talks of a TV series, right?
Yeah.
And that's I believe that's a good idea, because movies in this sense would kind of, it would work, but it would feel like, in my opinion, more of a cash grabby thing, because he's written so many books that would become so many movies, and the plot would just become we gotta cut this, we gotta cut that, we gotta cut this, we gotta cut that. Which is why I believe the movies kind of went, how are we supposed to do this? Let's just rewrite it.
Yeah, I also think that it was so clear, because as someone who know nothing about Percy Jackson, when the first trailer came out and everything, like I got it immediately. I got it, and I go, oh, Harry Potter ripoff. Like it was literally down to he had, instead of a redhead, he's got a black guy as a friend. He's got the girl with who is what's her name again? Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful now.
Alexander Daddario.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, those piercing blue eyes. Are you kidding me? She's gorgeous. But anyway, yeah, like she was the Hermione. Like it was just literally let's just copy paste this, but we're doing, instead of magic, it's gods there. And then we'll have James Bond dressed up as a centaur. And then
and we have Sean Bean as Zeus.
Yeah, that's fine. Did he die in this one?
He's a god.
Well, I'm just saying, Sean Bean, you can't count him out. He's probably going to die in this one. But yeah, and then I just remember how seeing just clips of the second one, it was as if, yeah, we're not getting a lot, so we're going to reduce the budget and hope that the fans come back, and no one's going to care anyway. And that was the vibe.
I don't even remember if I've seen Sea of Monsters, because I was so disappointed with the first movie that I didn't see it. But yeah,
how about this one? Give me before you continue. Give me something from the first movie. The first that was like, this is a disappointment I had with it, because in the original it's this gem. If you give me something like that, maybe I can kind of wrap my head around how badly they messed up.
Okay, so see, I disliked the first movie so much that I basically removed some of the but I believe they switched out the bad guy. Or something like that. Did they? Like the way that I think they switched out the bad guy.
Okay. And it just makes no sense when you've read the books.
Or like the idea here is that, I mean, okay, if you want to talk about it as a Harry Potter ripoff, you have the idea of Harry Potter being, the
chosen one.
Yeah, well, the child who lived, the boy who lived, right? And everyone else is like, oh, you have a Muggle friend, or she was a Muggle friend, and you have Ron, who is a full wizard friend, and let's go on adventures and slay snakes and stab books with viper fangs and stuff like that, right? And no, basilisk fangs, sorry. But in this case, you have Camp Half-Blood. I mean, everyone's half-blood. Everyone. So
instead of Hogwarts the school, it's a camp.
Yeah, it's like a summer camp.
So it's like even that is like,
and it's
not
go to
that.
Yeah, exactly, and it's visible to only half-bloods, right? People who can see past the veil.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the idea then is, I guess, if I'm again not misremembering the series, sorry, the movie, the kids there either know who their father is from the Pantheon or they don't.
Okay.
And by being recognized, at least in the books, there's a little bit of book lore, I remember that, being recognized by your divine half comes with certain benefits.
Perks?
Or exactly, like some sort of perk. But
you get to drink from the Kool-Aid machine. Come with
the ambrosia machine.
we will drip grapes into your mouth and fan you like pretty women.
But yeah, exactly. So like, is your father Hades? Is it Neptune? Is it Zeus? Is it Hecates? Is it Yabada? Is it Bubadu? Is it Rab? Who's your?
How many do they have? Any? This is just because I've noticed a lot of male names. Do they have the opposite where it's like?
No, Aphrodite is one. Yeah. You can have your mom can be Aphrodite. Your mom can be Aphrodite. Your mom can be. Oh, help me.
Think
Hera.
Of any other god that's
no. I was thinking Hera. She's the
Is
Greek.
Medusa in one of these? I forget. I have a feeling.
Medusa is the Greek gods. Yeah. So you have like, you have Hera. You have Artemis. You have. I mean, so you can absolutely have a mother being the divine part. Absolutely. There's no.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yes, it is. And I mean, in the books, it's cool because, right, so you have these kids who might not know who their heritage is, right? And but they still have to, come to the terms that I have a divine side of me. I don't know who it could be, right? And you get powers depending on, right, who you are or who you're related to and who claims you. I mean, cool. I remember like that part being kind of a little bit glossed over, and like not glossed over, but they talked about that in the book, in the movie, where essentially, he finds out that his father is Poseidon, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so, right? Like his father was Poseidon, and water. Great. Stuff like that. But like his other friends, when they go out and quest and try to do stuff, I just remember I have this one like thing in my head that is like, why are they doing this? Because that was not how they did it in the book, and I just if I could just remember it. Yeah.
It's tough when you get that disappointment when something you love doesn't quite reach your expectations and stuff. It's funny because like when I think about this, there's two things that I feel that this is loosely reminds me of, like the idea of being the children of somebody. Mm-hmm. That reminds me of Runaways from Marvel. The idea of the kids finding out that all of their parents are like literally bad guys in the Marvel universe. And now they're like, oh crap, let's get out of here. And then they form sort of a team on their own, but they're still running away and trying to thwart their parents from doing even bad stuff. There's this,
and they get different powers and have different powers. I don't remember if I finished it. I think I watched
I feel like I watched the first season, and then I watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes of the second season. Because it was on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it was only 2 seasons, right?
Yeah, I think so. And they do a crossover with, what's the name of it? Cloak and Dagger, apparently. And I watched a few episodes of that, and that was really good. Cloak and Dagger.
I forgot Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what happened there?
Maybe I should watch Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger's on Disney Plus 2?
Yeah, no, Disney Plus isn't, or Cloak and Dagger isn't on Disney Plus. It was on HBO here in Sweden. I remember watching it at a friend's house, and I was like, whoa, this is a good show. So I'm sure there's ways to find it.
All right.
But the other thing that this reminds me of is a book by a screenwriter known as John August, who he wrote a bunch of scripts for like Charlie's Angels and stuff like that. Yeah. And I listened to a podcast where he had an idea for a young adult or a kid's novel, which essentially is, of course, sort of inspired by the mega hit that is Harry Potter, but it's called Arlo Finch. Have you heard of this? Arlo Finch in the Valley of Fire is the first book, and I listened to it like as an audiobook, and I was like, this is pretty good because it's good in its simplicity, where the entire setup is he's okay, so you know how he's got a lightning bolt on his head, Harry Potter. Yeah. This kid, he's got 2 different colored eyes.
Oh, like that's heterochromia.
Like, yeah, exactly. Okay. And they say it in the book, but it turns out that the hidden reason is because he's from a different universe where it's like there's something like that. I forget. But that's cool. Yeah, but the cool thing about this is that instead of going to a camp, instead of going to Hogwarts, he basically does Boy Scouts, where it's like, we're going to become the Rangers. And the people who are taking care of them when they go into the forest, they're explaining that, okay, beyond the forest, there is this secret world that we have to protect ourselves from. So, and instead of like, we're going to have the invisible cloak, there's literally like a special knot that you can tie in to like rope, and if you squeeze in there, you are now invisible. Like you literally just wrap the rope around you, get in, and on the other side of the rope you cannot be seen, and you can run around. And it's like stuff like that. They have like, there's a cool thing where you can snap your finger like finger guns, and this like blast of light comes out. And like and apparently because this Arlo Finch is sort of the chosen one in this, he just does it for the first time, and like blam, like a huge blast comes out and he saves the day. But there's a lot of good stuff, and I remember listening. There's a bit where he's being chased by a nightmare, which is like some demon horse that just runs through his house, and they call it a nightmare. And I love that.
Nightmare, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great play on words. So I was I remember saying that to the librarian at school, and then she ordered a bunch and gave it out to the kids at the school that I work at. So that's fun to kind of be behind some new thing. But and that also reminds me that this book series, Percy Jackson, one of the kids at school was always carrying around like every book that he ever wrote, and she would try to tell me about it, but I'd be like, it's too much information. But yeah, out of the two that we've talked about today, I do feel like I can relate more to Percy Jackson, but I think it's only because it feels like it's a more palatable, relatable scenario, whereas like I can understand like the appeal of a child going, oh my gosh, this whole magical world is opening up, which you've seen before in a lot of things. Whereas I'm in a magical world, it's a little tougher to get into. It's simply on that level. Yeah. But and I'm talking about Wheel of Time for those wondering what I'm talking about. But this was fun. This was fun. I would definitely, especially if Disney Plus comes out with this brand new series, Percy Jackson and the something of something.
I mean, just Percy Jackson.
Like literally. Yeah. Just call it Percy Jackson.
PJ?
But they have so much... PJ. Up in the projects, yo. No, but I definitely would give this a shot. It does sound like fun, especially knowing how impactful it's been on you and the kids that I've seen reading it at school. Sounds pretty interesting. Well, there you have it. Yay or nay? I would go with a full-on yay. I'll probably not, I don't know, maybe I won't go back to the books and start reading that right now, because I have a few other books that I haven't gotten around to reading. Yeah,
I mean, once you start with Percy Jackson, you're not going to stop, because it's also because he has that many books out. I mean, because they just continue, and they flow into each other, so it's...
Okay. Is it like... Here's this story that we're following, and then you see one character doing something weird, and then you buy another book where you see why he was doing that weird thing, and then it just continues like that?
I don't remember exactly that, cool. but kind of, yeah. That's kind of. Yeah.
Otherwise, I created it right now, and that's the book series that we're going to do together.
I guess that's one way of looking at it. But
it's never been done.
But that's to actually like cut into that. That's exactly what Brandon Sanderson does, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. His whole idea behind his books were, what about the background characters, right?
Yeah.
So like, his stories are fully fleshed out with characters, but there's something tying all of his different books together.
That's fun.
Yeah. So it's like, and it's not literally written out. You'd have to read his books to find out about it, or go into the forums and read about it. But it's just subtle, like small things that if you've read all of his books and reread them, you realize, this character is in all the books, kind of, but he's just a background character.
That's the thing. I like that. That's a fun, because that sort of is like as what the fans have done for Star Wars in a way, where when they made those movies, they just took a bunch of crazy trash and threw it together and made, this is a robot now. It's just made out of an ice cream machine and a coffee machine, and put it upside down, and now it's a robot. But then fans go, I want to find out what this robot has, and then they start making their own stories, and building up all the characters to be something amazing. So when you go back to the original, there was no meaning for these characters. Bosk wasn't a thing. But then now, like in all of the supplementary material, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many adventures that went on. Which is, what I mean? Which is funny with like somebody like Boba Fett, who's built up so much. But when you actually just watch the movies, he's just Mr. Magooing through the entire film. He doesn't know what's going on. He's getting smacked in the backpack by a blind Han Solo.
Oh my God.
And when you look back, you go, wait a minute, this badass who's the coolest guy in the galaxy is taken out by accident. And when you frame it like that, oh, maybe they didn't really expect him to be so cool in the very beginning. It just kind of happened, you know?
Oh.
So for those of you joining us, thank you once again for another episode of Vidiot On Demand. Where can we find you online? Do you have like a Instagram or something
I
like
have
that?
nothing. I'm literally just here on this channel and, I mean, on my Facebook. That's it.
Yeah, and no one can find that. No one's ever going to try. It's like, dare they? But there you go. Thank you so much for being my guest on these episodes.
And we'll definitely do this more often.
Yeah, especially if those episodes start coming out and we get to talk about it, and you can give me some inside scoop. In the book, it was better, or whatever. Thank you so much for watching once again. I'll see you guys. Like, share, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Love you so much. I'm going to go away now. Bye-bye.